Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Coco Gauff silences Serena Williams comparisons after shock loss to 18-year-old star. Coco Gauff has been touted as the heir apparent to Serena Williams in U.S. tennis, especially since her sensational triumph 2 years ago at Flushing Meadows. After all, the world number 2 has mirrored the 23-time Slam Queen in various achievements. In fact, her U.S. Open triumph made her the youngest American to win the major since a 17-year-old Serena Williams in 1999. Last year, she won the WTA Finals and became the first American since Williams clinched the honor in 2014. Even this season, Gauff became the first from her country to win the Suzanne Lenglen Trophy since, yeah, you guessed it right, Williams in 2015. But guess what? The 21-year-old doesn't believe drawing parallels between her and the tennis legend is ideal at all. Why so? On Saturday night, Gauff faced a massive setback in Montreal. The two-time Slam Queen failed to overcome the challenge of teenage sensation Victoria Mboko. The 18-year-old toppled her in straight sets with a scoreline of 6-1, 6-4. Gauff had won their first meeting back in May this year in Rome. This time, however, Mboko took her sweet revenge. Needless to say, she was pretty dominant in her performance, wrapping the match in just an hour and 2 minutes. Gauff, of course, knew better than to underestimate her. Yeah, she's a great player. We played on clay, so it might be will be a different match. And obviously she's gotten more experience, just being on tour, playing high-level players, she had said in her press conference following the match against Veronika Kudermetova. Following the heartbreaking loss, she was asked during the press conference if there's any similarity between her and Mboko. But Gauff doesn't like the idea of comparisons at all. No, she's a completely different player, completely different person, she said. And although her Wimbledon debut as a 15-year-old saw her stun Venus Williams, she made it crystal clear that she has never been a huge fan of comparison with either of the Williams sisters. Victoria Mboko shares honest thoughts on win against Coco Gauff. Victoria Mboko was overwhelmed after entering the quarterfinal stage of the Canadian Open. The feeling was surreal considering the fact that she won in front of her home fans. She began, "Oh my God, I really don't know what to say." Reflecting on her performance against Gauff, she said, before the match, I was quite a bit nervous because I actually played her before in Rome, and I just know how great of a player she is. The teenager also talked about how she prepared for the big match. So coming into the match, I was so locked in, and yeah, I tried to keep my composure as much as I could, especially playing in front of so many people. This is a very special experience for me, and I don't even know right now. With the latest win against the American, Mboko has become the first Canadian to reach the last 8 in Montreal since Bianca Andreescu did it in 2019. But that barely scratches the surface of the records that the teen broke by beating the number 1 seed. Now to make it to her maiden WTA 1000 semifinal, Mboko will have to go through Spain's Jessica Buza's Monero on Tuesday. Do you think the teenager can win her first big trophy at the Canadian Open? Let us know in the comments below. Coco Gauff silences Serena Williams comparisons after shock loss to 18-year-old star. For years, Coco Gauff has been touted as the next Serena Williams, a title both flattering and burdensome. The comparison, often made with the best of intentions, casts the teenager not just as a rising talent, but as the presumed heir to a legacy unmatched in tennis history. But after a surprising third-round loss to 18-year-old Czech rising star Klára Dvořáková at the 2025 U.S. Open, Gauff finally addressed those comparisons with rare candor. And in doing so, she may have taken her most important step yet, not as Serena's successor, but as Coco Gauff. The pressure of greatness. Gauff's journey has never been a quiet one. She burst onto the scene in 2019 at Wimbledon, defeating Venus Williams in the first round as a 15-year-old wild card. From that moment on, she became a symbol of the sport's future. A young, Black American girl dominating on the biggest stages, much like the Williams sisters had done decades earlier. Fans, commentators, and even sponsors lined up to paint her as the next Serena. The power, the athleticism, the intelligence, it was all there. But while those traits made the comparison tempting, it became increasingly clear that Coco was navigating a different journey, in a different era, with a different identity. "I grew up watching Serena dominate," Gauff once said. "She inspired me to pick up a racket. But I'm not here to be Serena 2.0. I'm here to be Coco." The shock in New York. Coming into the 2025 U.S. Open as the defending champion, Gauff was a favorite to repeat her triumph. She had been in top form all summer, winning hardcourt titles in Montreal and Cincinnati. Her confidence was high, her fitness peaking. But sports have a cruel way of humbling even the most seasoned competitors. Klara Dvorakova, an unseeded teenager with a laser-like backhand and nerves of steel, took the match to Gauff with fearless aggression and pinpoint accuracy. In just under 2 hours, the world watched as Dvorakova pulled off one of the biggest upsets of the tournament, winning 7-5, 3-6, 6-4. It was a match that stunned the crowd and reminded everyone that tennis, at its core, is a game of constant evolution. When asked in the post-match press conference about the Serena comparisons in the context of her unexpected loss, Gauff didn't dodge. "I'm not Serena. I'm me. Honestly, I'm tired of the Serena comparisons," Gauff said, her voice steady but firm. "She's the greatest of all time. What she did for this sport is unmatched, and I'll always respect that. But every time I win, it's next Serena. Every time I lose, it's not like Serena. I'm 21 years old, still learning, still growing. Let me be Coco." The room fell silent for a beat. It was a moment of clarity, one that echoed far beyond the loss itself. Gauff wasn't dismissing Serena's influence. She was honoring it by claiming her own space, by refusing to live in someone else's shadow. It was a declaration of independence, spoken not out of frustration, but out of self-awareness. Because while Serena changed the game, she also opened the door for players like Gauff to walk their own paths. And perhaps now, Coco was finally ready to close that door behind her and build something entirely new. Rewriting the narrative. Losses like these often become inflection points in an athlete's career. Gauff had already achieved more by 21 than many pros do in a lifetime: a Grand Slam title, Olympic medals, world #1 rankings in doubles. But in a sport where legacy is measured in dominance, every misstep is magnified. And yet, there was something quietly empowering in how she processed the defeat. No tantrums. No excuses. Just introspection and honesty. "Klara played incredible," she said.
"She deserved that win.
"I've been that 18-year-old before. Hungry, fearless. I know how dangerous that can be." Gauff's coach, Brad Gilbert, echoed the sentiment. "It's easy to win with grace," he said. "But Coco just showed how to lose with perspective. That's the mark of someone who's in it for the long haul." A new chapter. As the headlines rolled out, Gauff falls, new star rises, changing of the guard? The tennis world began to buzz with speculation. Was this a fluke? Or was Dvorakova the real deal? What does this mean for Gauff's trajectory? But Coco seemed unbothered. She spent the day after the match at a youth tennis clinic in Harlem, laughing with kids, hitting soft serves, and reminding everyone why so many fell in love with her game in the first place. She spoke not of redemption or revenge, but of patience. "I'm not chasing someone else's story anymore," she told a young girl who asked what her next goal was. "I'm writing my own legacy on her own terms." There will always be comparisons in sports. It's how narratives are built, how excitement is sustained. But the truest champions are the ones who move beyond them, who define themselves, for better or worse, and stand on their own merits. Serena Williams' shadow looms large, and it always will. But Coco Gauff has made it clear, she's not interested in living in that shadow anymore. If anything, she's ready to cast her own.